Hey guys, it's Lawrence584 again. I am responding to the TMI tag, which Jay and Bryan have delightfully included me in. Got some questions, put me on the spot, let's get started. What am I wearing? I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Ever been in love? Oh yeah, a grand total of 12 times. Ever had a terrible breakup? 11 times, actually. Yeah, I don't know what it is about me, but for some reason, aside from one relationship, every one of my relationships ended in a massive nuclear explosion. Which, of course, may have had something to do with my choice in men, but, yeah. How tall are you? 5'8". Average height. Yeah. How much do you weigh? I thought it was inappropriate to ask a lady those types of questions. I weigh around 200 pounds, 215, depending on, how depressed I am. Any tattoos? No, not yet, although I am planning on getting my family crest tattooed on my back. Any piercings? No, but my ears, actually, if you can see, are a little deformed, or they just kind of have a weird look to them, so I've often joked that I did have piercings once upon a time. OTP. Huh? Favorite show? Bitten, which has the girl that played Kara in it. I'm a big fan of Kelly Armstrong's work. Her novels are incredible. But more to the point, they did a really incredible job of adapting the TV or the book to the TV show. Favorite bands? I'm kind of major on Lady Gaga, Madonna, Cher, Bruno Mars. Basically, yeah, you picture anything that's considered cliche gay, and I'm down with that. Something that you miss. My childhood. As difficult as it was, looking back on it now, it's a lot simpler. Things could be... The things that seem so major back then in reality, are so trivial and simple compared to what's going on now. My favorite song. The Time of My Life by David Cook. It's funny because I can't stand any of his other songs, but that one song is just so beautiful. I actually intend on it being my first dance when I get married. So, anyone out there, you're getting married, don't use that song because I claim it. It's my song for my first dance. How old are you? Yeah, another question you shouldn't be asking a gay guy. I am on the cusp of gay death, actually. I am 29 years old, on the verge of turning 30. So, yeah, I'm fully expecting on my birthday to get the funeral procession, tombstone cake, and all that stuff. Zodiac sign. I am a Taurus, which means that I am stubborn, loyal, determined, blah, 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 blah. Basically, the main points to get out of my sign is that I'm stubborn, but I'm also very loyal. I'm a good person, but I'm also stubborn. Quality I look for in a partner. Not surprisingly, given my relationship history, I look for honesty, integrity, someone who knows what they want and goes for it without apology or without making excuses or lying about it. My favorite quote, actually, and it comes from an episode of Bitten, ironically enough, and it's what Jeremy told Elena when she was going through her first change. Don't fight it. Listen to me very carefully. Listen to me now. Don't fight the pain. It will kill you. It will kill you. You have to go with the pain. You need to let it pass through you. Let it take you where you need to go. This is something that I remember when I heard it, I found incredibly applicable not only in the breakup scenarios, but just in general in life. Sometimes you can't, there's this abundance of energy to try and fight against the pain of something when really you need to go with it. Favorite actor? Gerard Butler. To this day, he is, for a daddy, he is one hot guy. Like, whew. I remember when I saw him in Lara Croft Tomb Raider, and I was so smitten, and ever since then, Gerard Butler all the way. Favorite color? I have actually two. When I was very young, my own favorite color was red, without a doubt. But as I've gotten older, I also am a fan of purple. So, yeah, red and purple. Loud music or soft? As a general rule, if I'm sober, it depends on my mood, really. If I'm sober and I'm feeling kind of whatever, then I like it soft. If I'm feeling angry, I like it loud. If I'm drunk, I like it loud. So, yeah, I like both. Like, I don't really have a preference. Where do you go when you're sad? Actually, usually when I'm very sad, there's a park just outside my home, where it still has a large forest, which I walk into, and, just kind of sit there and allow myself to think and kind of work through whatever I'm going through. That's for, like, minor things. If I'm really, really depressed, then I go to a place called North Bay, which, has been featured in some of my other videos. It's, up 3.5 hours northwest or northeast, I forget, of Toronto. And it's just a really, like, simple place that it just always makes me feel better whenever I'm there. How long does it take you to shower? It takes me approximately a half hour to shower. I am a bit of obsessive compulsive when it comes to certain things, and showering is one of them. I actually will systematically go down, wash my hair, wash my face, wash my eyelids, if you can believe that, and then systematically work down. So, of course, naturally, that takes a long time. It's one of my things that people criticize me about. How long does it take you to get ready in the morning? That takes me about 5 minutes, mainly because I'm a typical guy in the sense of I roll out of bed, jump into my clothes, and I'm ready. I don't need any, like, pressing or preening time, which is funny. I always tease my brother because, I'm the gay brother, and traditionally they say, oh, well, it takes us so long to get ready, yet I'm the one who's up and out in 5 minutes. My brother, on the other hand, it takes him about an hour to 2 hours to get fully prepared to go out. Ever been in a physical fight? I've actually been in a few physical fights in my life. The most recent one I can think of was a few years ago. I was on a date with a guy, and he was drinking. We came over to his place, and he started drinking really heavily and got really intoxicated. And I had to work the next morning early, so I told him, I'm like, I need to go, because he promised me that he'd drive me home, but of course he's like, no, you have to stay. I informed him I was going to get a cab if he couldn't drive me, which I knew he couldn't. He then grabbed me by my shirt front and started slamming me against the wall, trying to hit my head, against it, and I was lucky I had my Swiss Army knife on it. I pulled it on him and pulled the cliche, because I live in Scarborough, which has a bad reputation of course I was also drunk. I said, I know how to, he's like, don't mess with me, man. I know, I'm from Scarborough. And so, yeah, that's the last one I can think about. Turn-ons. I'd say my biggest turn-on is a guy's face. If he has a really handsome face, it's really, it really gets me excited. All other things, like, I'm not really big on on a particular body part or body thing. It's just, I think about it like and it ties to the fact that I'm more of emotional, like, when I meet someone, I'm looking for a connection. And connection you find in the face, and the eyes, and, the lips, and all that other thing, so, It's the face is my biggest turn on. Turn-offs. I I can't stand arrogant people. I also have I can't stand those people where, they think they're so hot that their shit doesn't stink and stuff like that. I also don't like mean people. I don't see any reason why anybody has to be mean to anybody else. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, liars. I can't stand lies. People who lie, because first of all, my experience has taught me that lies invariably come out. They do. They always come out. And second off, I'm a very empathic person, and generally when people lie, I can tell. I mean, there's very few people in this world that can fool me. The reason I joined YouTube, actually, initially when I joined YouTube, it was to basically view videos, like most people. But then when I started watching Jay and Bryan Leffew, and I started watching RJ and Will, I realized how much a creative outlet it could be for me personally, and so that's what kind of inspired me to go further with it. Fears. I have a couple fears. One of them is probably one of my worst ones is a fear of heights. Similar to Bryan, it's gotten worse as I've gotten older, to the point, like when I was younger, it would be extreme heights that would bother me, but now, even just waiting for the subway, if I'm standing in the subway and I am close to the edge, I start to freak out internally because I can't stand heights at all. Another fear I have is a fear of, truthfully, a fear of pain. It was something that kind of brought me up. I mean, I have a very high pain tolerance. It's something that came up when I was watching a video about war veterans, and they were talking about how they weren't afraid of dying, but they were afraid of being injured, wounded, and basically suffering in agony and screaming and being in pain. I agree. I'm very much like that. If you die, it's outright. You're done. But to suffer in agony and whatever is is a very terrifying experience. Also, and tied to that sort of, is the idea of being completely trapped within my mind, like not being able to physically, like being alive, but being unable to communicate, being trapped within my body, not even being able to communicate. So that's some of my deeper, darker fears. I believe I talked about them in another video. Last thing that made you cry. Mike. And if you can see this, Mike, you're an asshole. The last time you said you loved someone. Last night, I told my mom before she went to bed that I loved her. Meaning behind your YouTube name. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, Lawrence is my name. 5584 is basically my birthday. So the year, the month, the day, the month, and the year. The last book I read. The last book I read actually was, or actually I should say reread, was Tales of the Otherworld by Kelly Armstrong. Basically, the bulk of her books are about the women of the otherworld, but this was actually a collection of short stories she initially did online, but then put in a bound version, which tells of the men. So, for example, Clay, Logan, Lucas, all these male characters that are supernatural in themselves. And also, moreover, this book talks about their history. So you find out, like, kind of the background story of some of these characters, which is really nice. The books you're currently reading. I'm kind of in between right now. I haven't really decided which book I want to read next, so I'm kind of taking a hiatus from it. Last show you watched. Bitten. Last person you talked to. My great aunt Mitzi. The relationship between you and the person you last texted. Best friend. Favorite foods. Pizza! Place you want to visit. England, Ireland, Japan, Salem, Massachusetts, Louisiana, any other ones? Santa Rosa, which I'm actually going to do in the summer. Yay! Last place you were. Work. The bank. I don't know. Do you have a crush? No. And yes. Last time you kissed someone? About an hour ago, I kissed my great aunt. Last time you were insulted? Um, Sunday? Favorite flavor of sweet? Chocolate. Chocolate. What instruments do you play? This feels like a sexual question for some reason. Yeah, I kind of don't play any instruments nowadays. I used to play the trombone when I was in school. Yes, I was a tromboner. Ha 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 ha. But yeah, no, unless you count my vocal cords as an instrument. Favorite piece of jewelry? My grandfather's ring. It's one of the few things I actually have of his, and it holds a great deal of personal significance to me. Last sport you played? Bowling. And yes, bowling is a sport. Last song you sang? Just tell me, what do you want from me? This is love in the first degree. Tell me why every time I feel your eyes all over me. Tell me, what do you want from me? Are you man enough to see that it's time to cross the line? Come on now, set me free. What you want from me? Favorite chat lineup? How you doing? Have you ever used it? No, I just ask people, hi, what's up, generally. Last time you hung out with someone, with anyone? That would be last week. I hung out with my friends Oscar and Will. We had pizza and we talked about stuff that I'm not going to talk about right now. Who should answer these questions next? Is this on? Oops. The last book I read. The last book I read was Philippa Gregory something or other. No? Hang on.